craftsmanship in jewelry that is inspired by both ancient motifs and modern sensibilities.
This is something that fits very easily into my day-to-day life.
And my quest has brought me to the city of Pune, in the country's Deccan heartland.
Do you think I'll be able to achieve enlightenment quickly?
I'm Nikita Anand, and you're watching Oh My Gold. Pune was once the capital of the Maratha dynasty, and its well-preserved heritage and craftsmanship is evident even today in its ancient monuments and the traditional motifs of its jewelry. Today, Pune is one of India's fastest-growing business centers and is the second largest city in Maharashtra. It is also famous for some of the country's best-known universities and has a largely young population.
Usually, I start exploring a city by visiting the local market. But here in Pune, I'm starting off at a store which has a mix of jewelry from all across the country. In fact, it's a really posh version of a flea market.
This trendy store is located in Pune's upmarket Koregaon Park and is buzzing with ecstatic shoppers. The people here really seem to like these wacky baubles. Time to jump into some trinket shopping for myself. This one is quite pretty. But I'm in the mood for something more spectacular.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I help you?
And help is at hand. This is Sonali Pingle, and she owns this store. So I guess she's the best person to help me wade through this ocean of trippy treasures.
This is a nice dramatic piece. Can I keep it on?
Of course.
Are there any more such pieces here?
Oh, we have lots of stuff.
Wow, I feel like a kid in a candy store. Wacky necklaces, flashy stone pendants, and spunky bejeweled bags.
So there's jewelry on the bags.
And there's jewelry on the scarf.
Yes.
So either you combine them or you can wear either one as well.
Absolutely.
They even have a corner where you can design your own jewelry.
I'm going to come back to this counter.
You must.
These bejeweled animals and puppets add a playful punch to the vibrant display of the store. So this is where all the glamorous, glitzy pieces are.
And then we have bells. Interesting
this one
bells.
is
Using
really funky and there's a lot of bling here.
Yes, a lot of bling. And people use their birthstones, to make these. Like, for example, this is smoked topaz.
Right. So you can change the stone.
You can change the stone.
Choose whatever you want.
Choose what you want.
This is a stunning piece, isn't it? Absolutely. I can totally imagine myself wearing this for a red carpet event and probably teaming it up with a solid color so that, these colors, this red and black, really shows through. And even this crystal here, I really like this one.
And then, of course, we can't do without the gold.
The gold has to feature.
To be there.
There's just so much to like here. And the best part is, there's something for everyone. From glamorous divas to eclectic collectors. What a great warm-up this has been to my jewelry quest in Pune. I've really enjoyed the burst of color and the fusion of diverse design inspirations. Now I'm all set to get a taste of some traditional Maharashtrian jewelry. I'm headed to P.N. Gadgil & Sons, one of the oldest and most renowned jewelers in town. They've been around for nearly 2 centuries. This is Nandu Devle, the marketing head at P&G, and he is going to be my guide on this golden treasure hunt.
All the designs which you see here have come down ages and generations, just been passed on and on. And the best part is they're in a way still contemporary because they still get sold. Have a look at something like this, This is a choker.
Right.
It has some basic elements, Maharashtrian jewelry. One is the beads. Second is the woven work kind of thing. And every piece has a Krishna dancing. And on top of that, again, is a handwork.
I'm going to try this. You're saying it fits around the neck
Please,
perfectly.
Go ahead.
I hope I make for a hot gopi wearing this piece.
Now have a look at this one. You know, it has the beads, which are very prominent,
Right.
standing out.
Yeah.
It has the weave or the chatai texture kind of thing. And this part here is the die cast. We have 300-year-old dies.
Right.
So they put a sheet of metal in that and they cast it. And what they do is that pressing die casting is not enough. Once they remove it, they have to do handwork on that to give it the 3D effect.
Traditional gold beads and lattice work is a common feature in Maharashtrian jewelry. And when you look closely, each piece showcases the fine artistry of highly skilled craftsmen.
Now I'll show you a Kolhapuri saz. There's a city called Kolhapur.
Kolhapur, so it's inspired from.
Inspired from Kolhapur. There are beads in this also.
Right.
But if you see, these beads are plain and these beads have been worked upon. Now it's become a part of, you know, traditional contemporary kind of jewelry, and it's a signature piece. You know? Wow.
So what is it about Kolhapur that inspires this piece?
Kolhapur is an old city. There's also a famous temple. Even the deity there, the goddess, wears the same piece.
In that case, I should get one of these for myself.
Now just look at this. Isn't it fabulous?
It is.
All they have done, the artisans in this, is they're just flat links.
Right.
But they're very popular in Maharashtra, you know. Even the chains and Mangal Sutras are made out of this kind of link.
Oh, I see there's 7 strands in this.
There are. In India, in our religions, we say 7 lives. Or when they get married, they have 7 feras.
So it's a very lucky, auspicious number.
I'm hoping that wearing this will be lucky for me.
This is called a sari. It's a neck piece.
Okay.
It's like a...
You know, this has a really big hook or a clasp, which you don't normally find in other pieces.
Because there's a purpose to that. Here, the hook is very simple. It's flexible. And sari is worn with the hook in front. Earlier, when women wore saris,
Right.
and they would take their pallu on their heads, and that would keep slipping. So, sari was also used to keep the pallu on the head.
What I really like about Maharashtrian jewelry is that the pieces are very comfortable to wear. They're usually light, fuss-free, and sit well on the body. Here's a stunning choker for all you ladies looking for a hookup. Wear it as it is for a clean and contemporary look. If you're wearing a sari or a scarf on a windy day, tuck in the edge through the hook and you'll be set to throw caution to the winds. You can further spike your glamour quotient with a blingy earring that can be hung as a pendant.
It's sitting very comfortably on me.
We have all geometrical motifs here.
India's love affair with gold has been long and passionate. And while the love for the yellow metals stays strong as ever, young jewelry designers are now experimenting with various materials that push their creative buttons. One such budding designer is Avantika Kumar, who makes a bold statement with her jewelry by using materials that are offbeat and really funky.
Avantika, what exactly is this jewelry right in front of me? It's basically Zardozi that has been crocheted into jewelry, to form jewelry here. In the olden days, Zardozi was used by the Rajas and the Maharajas in actual gold foil and gold wire to embellish their textiles.
The ancient Persian embroidery technique called Zardozi means sewing with gold. And Avantika has taken inspiration from it to crochet and sew her ornaments together.
This piece, it's a neck piece basically. It's a choker,
Right.
and it's been made in a very bold and a voluptuous way.
Voluptuous jewelry. Now that's a first for me.
You know, I think probably because it's not metal, it's sitting very comfortably on me, and it's sort of taking the shape very well. I like this hairband, and I'm going to try it on. You know, this is something that I would like to wear. I can probably wear it every day as well. So this is something that fits very easily into my day-to-day life. So do you like working with different materials? Do you like to fuse different materials because it gives a lot of texture to the piece? Yeah, I actually like infusing a lot of materials together. Like this bangle here.
Right.
It's been crocheted, but it's been embellished with these glass beads. And when the light passes through these glass beads, there's just a sparkle added to the whole piece.
Although the material is quite understated, I love the way Avantika uses beads and textures in these pieces.
What is the USP of your collection?
It is basically the new age gold. It's not that heavy as the conventional gold jewelry, but it's something which is much more fun and edgy and something that is affordable. The clip here, you can see, it's a small little clip which can add the zing to your wardrobe.
Small? I think you could see it from the moon.
Tell me, what's the one must-have that every woman must own?
Something like this, infused with these metallic chains. It could go with your Indian
Western
wear, it could go with your Western wear, anything. And it's very lightweight.
That's true. Even though the pieces look heavy, they are very light and easy to wear. Jewelry today needs to fulfill one golden rule. It must be unique. While young jewelry designers are experimenting with materials and designs, traditional jewelers also need to reinvent to attract young buyers.
Jewelry has evolved. It keeps evolving every day because with generations changing, people's tastes change, their preferences change. The basics or the motifs or the elements have remained the same, but the techniques have evolved. It has all the natural motifs, like traditional jewelry. It has leaves,
Yeah, it has the leaves.
it has flowers, it has those pods kind of thing.
Right.
And the work is extremely intricate here also.
Yes, I can
But-
see that happening here.
Yes. But like earlier, these stones which are fitted here wasn't possible.
It's quite a dramatic piece.
It is.
And I could do with a dash of drama.
Have a look at this.
Wow, I see a lot of color happening in this piece.
Absolutely. Actually, if you look at it from the sides,
Uh-huh.
they are peacocks. So this entire work is filigree work. Then the color is lent by the enamel work, and then it's finished by stones.
The designs may be inspired from age-old traditions, but the craft of jewelry making has been given a makeover with the use of modern technology. Traditional Maharashtrian pieces have now taken on a more colorful and vibrant avatar.
You know what you have here is a kind of lattice work. Then it has the mango motifs.
And then I think to add a bit of color and texture, this is another layer that's been added.
Layer. And that's uncut diamonds and rubies.
You have a lot of options to wear this
A lot
piece
of
with.
options. Let me show you this piece now. We have all geometrical motifs here.
Okay, so I see
We have
rectangle.
rectangles, we have the ovals, we have the squares.
So this is, a softer element.
These pieces are perfect for the modern-day diva. But what about the new age bride?
We have created something specially for the weddings, but which is a contemporary wedding piece
Today's bride.
for today's bride. Have a look at this. It's quite dramatic. And it also happens to be one of our best sellers.
Wow.
Because there's a small trick in this. If you notice, these are two different pieces. This is a necklace, and this is also a necklace. There's a hook here. Why don't you try it? Yeah, just remove the
Oh, so
hook.
we can unclasp this
Yes.
from here.
And from this side.
Oh, wow. So this is a 2-in-1 piece.
Yes. In fact, it's a 3-in-1 piece. This is one.
Right.
Then this becomes second. And when you put it together,
When you combine both the two, that's your third look.
that's the third one.
The modern-day bride is surely spoiled for choice with these practical yet opulent designs. But hey, I'm not going to wait for my wedding to try these on. Check out this stunning double-decker neck piece. It's a multi-layered traditional piece that can be worn by brides on their special day. But it doesn't just stop there. Pull out the lower piece and voila! You have a showstopper of a necklace that can make your outfit sizzle at any soiree.
This is like a jewelry in a fabric.
You think I'll be able to achieve enlightenment quickly?
I am now at the Jadavgarh Fort on the outskirts of Pune. Built in 1710, this fort is a great example of the fine craftsmanship evident in Maratha architecture. But I must confess that the real reason I'm here is to get my hands on Maharashtra's golden weave, the Paithani. And for that, I have a rendezvous with Rashmi and Prashant Tapadia. They have been working relentlessly to keep this art form alive. Today, They're holding a photo shoot at this ancient fort, and it seems like I've landed right in the middle of it.
These are petnis?
What you can see is a golden thread and a silk woven together. It's completely hand woven.
In these sarees, we use a lot of gold, pure gold, 24 karat gold and silk.
Gold is what's giving it this beautiful shine to the saree as well.
You know, this is like a jewelry in a fabric.
Right.
And it's more valuable than gold itself because it takes anything from 1 year to 2 years to weave such a pattern.
I wonder if they keep these saris under lock and key. Rashmi tells me that some of these motifs are inspired by forms found at the Ajanta caves. How exotic.
So who came up with the concept of the golden weave?
It started in 200 BC, almost like more than 2,000 years now.
So how much gold is used in this saree?
These contain about 100 grams of gold. Total weight is about a kg or so.
Do you still have a lot of demand for these sarees then?
Yes, these are considered as a heirloom because to buy today, whether you use it, you pass it to your next generation, or you just decide later to fire it up, they still give you the returns, which is better than what you invested.
Since this is an age-old tradition, how are you keeping this tradition alive?
We try to keep the art in its place, and then we make stoles. We make even, the cushion covers, the bags,
Right.
or small scarves.
I like this saree. I love the richness of the color, and I think I'll probably take this one with me.
Don't worry, happy couple. I'm going to pay for it. After that big splurge, it's time for something a bit more esoteric. So how about meeting designer Sumit Sahni, who trekked all the way up to the far-flung monasteries of Ladakh and Sikkim to get inspiration for this unique collection? Sounds intriguing, doesn't it? I definitely want to know more.
I haven't heard of monastery jewelry before. I mean, I know of temple jewelry, which is very famous down south.
That's right.
But what's monastery jewelry all about?
Oh, this is the latest fad actually. My latest collection is called the Monastery Collection. It is actually an eclectic fusion of the contemporary, ethnic, and the spiritual charm. You see the Om
This is the prayer wheel?
That's right. These are all individual prayer wheels with the mantra Om Mani Padma Hum.
Okay. This is a lovely neck piece. It's a nice mix of colors.
Absolutely.
The blue and green are really complementing each other very well.
That's right. And the red, I think, just sets it off perfect. And it's actually a fusion of a Mughal element to it.
Right.
We've got the lapis lazuli. We've got a carved Asian Buddha element there. I think you should try it on, actually.
I'd like to.
Sumit has given a funky new spin to traditional Buddhist figures and motifs by combining them with Rajasthani jarao, colored stones, beads, and wood. The collection is quite dazzling, and there I thought it would be about Zen-like simplicity.
I love the Buddha form. And in a lot of pieces, I see that you've used that as well. So do you also have that instant personal connect?
I have an immediate connect with Buddha. I think I breathe, I listen Buddhist chants all the time.
And you're like a little laughing Buddha yourself.
Another favorite piece of mine is actually called the Climbing of the Monastery. So here you see the prayer wheels.
Right.
So these are all movable wheels. Whenever you are actually going up to a monastery, you are actually following a path. You are moving up. So this is the whole journey or the path which is taken.
So are you saying that if I keep this on, you think I'll be able to achieve enlightenment quickly?
You move these wheels, I think, and you would, I think, achieve enlightenment very soon.
I am not sure about enlightenment, but I know just the place to attain jewelry nirvana.
Nikita, I think right now you are in the best possible company.
Why is that? Because I'm with you?
No, not me. Because we are at a diamond counter and diamonds are supposed to be girls' best friends.
Yes.
Nowadays, even all the precious stones like rubies and emeralds and amethysts and all the semi-precious stones also have become girls' best friends,
So the gang has increased.
Gang is increased. Earlier, diamonds were beyond reach for the commoners.
So not very affordable.
Yes. As you can see, like this piece,
It has a lot of sparkle.
there's a lot of
Lot of
sparkle.
dazzle.
Yeah. What you have in the center is a huge emerald.
You know, each of these diamond pieces is so huge
They are.
that it can even be worn on a ring or as solitaire earrings.
On their own. And because of that, as you can see, the piece is not flexible. You know,
Because
it's
of the
kind
size of the diamonds, right?
Because of the size of
even
the
the
diamond.
emerald size is
big.
huge.
It's big.
Now I could do with a few more best friends like these.
Wow, what stone is this?
These are called yellow diamonds. They're naturally yellow diamonds.
These are diamonds.
Yes. Earlier, not many people would go for colored diamonds. But now, as the fashion sense has changed, a lot of people tend to go for colored diamonds.
Because this piece has very special, unique, and a
Yes,
different,
yes.
glow.
Glow.
Traditionally, Maharashtrian jewelry hasn't been known to use a lot of color. But Pune seems to have a newfound fascination with color in its jewelry. Even traditional diamond settings are studded with colored gemstones.
This is a combination of emeralds and diamonds.
So there are more emeralds in this piece.
And since the emeralds are encased in the diamond border, they even glow more. Have a look at this.
Wow.
Now, can anything be more colorful and bright than this? These are amethyst and these are yellow topazes.
Right.
And they're
And the
encrusted
diamonds.
with diamonds.
Of late, there's a lot of infusion of colored stones and gems in jewelry.
Because now dressing sense, dressing styles have changed. So to go with that, jewelry also has to develop. Jewelry also has to change its look and feel, and it has to be versatile.
Although deeply embedded in tradition, the jewelry in Pune is versatile and is constantly transforming to keep up with modern trends. Pune bedazzled me with its exotic jewelry and dared me to try on its bold and contemporary ornaments. Here are some of my favorite pieces from the city. These diamond earrings are like the moonlight that can sparkle up any evening. This neck piece is inspired by the sun's rays. Bold, beautiful, and majestic. I'd love to get my hands on these chic bangles. Pune is a great example of India's continuing fascination with ornamentation. For me, this city was like a glittering piece of heaven. The perfect place for jewelry-loving angels like me.